Making inferences on the lead generator is all about finding opportunities that are not obvious. That is, if you sell, say, widgets, and another user has posted that they need a widget, you might guess that that's a pretty obvious opportunity for you to maybe sell a widget. But, as is the case frequently in life, sometimes opportunities aren't so obvious. How to find opportunities on the lead generator when they're not as obvious as what we showed in the basic searching for leads presentation is what we're going to talk about for the next 10 or so minutes. To be sure, the methods for inferring leads or finding the non-obvious opportunities are almost endless, limited almost only by your creativity. So I'm not going to go into every method, but I hope that if I can show you a few tricks of the trade, you can understand the theories and maybe even be more creative and find even more leads from there. There are also, by the way, lots more techniques that are discussed in the help section, but let's start with some basic concepts and then see where that takes us. One way to think about making inferences is that there are, in a sense, two directions you can go, or two dimensions that you can think in. One is along the line of variants, synonyms, and searching on other names, substitutes, or complements for what you do. The other is along the line of the different data elements in the lead generator, or a dimension composed of the lead generator's tables. To illustrate, I'm going to go back and continue with the telemarketing example that we used before, but this works regardless of what product or service you sell, and I'll try to show that along the way. If you remember, I initially did a search using basic search on the term telemarketing. And in doing so, I got a number of hits in just about every table. The ones I was most interested in at the time were in the needs table. But you should also recall that there was a record in the leads table using the word telemarketer rather than telemarketing that I noticed when I was looking at the company's details. And there were also hits in the company descriptions and other tables too. But the first thing you should realize is that other users may use forms or variants of your keywords that are extensions of your basic product or service. For example, if you recall, the lead we had used the word telemarketer in it, not telemarketing. Someone might alternatively have used the word telemarketers, telemarketing with a dash in the middle, or telemarketer with a dash. Plurals, prefixes, suffixes, misspellings, hyphenations, and all sorts of other spelling variations can come in when you're dealing with free text. So one thing you can do to find these hidden opportunities is search on the root of a word, like tele, telemar, or even archit. Just remember that while you certainly want to be careful with spelling and other conventions when you post your information, because you want to be perceived as an intelligent and responsible business person, other people may simply have other perfectly legitimate ways of writing things. Keep in mind that when we're talking about the needs table, and of course the products and services table, the words in these descriptions come from the SIC codes and NAICS codes of the government, so there's some standardization. But when it comes to searching the text-oriented tables, sometimes anything goes. Beyond variants, you may notice when you're searching the free text entries like leads and ads, someone could have used synonyms. In our case, this might include words like prospecting or prospector, lead generation, cold calling, bird dog, call center, TM, phone callers, phone power, telesales, teleselling, selling over the phone, phone advertising, or even marketing. Any of these could have been good search terms to find leads, and I'd potentially leave a lot of money on the table if I didn't at least try them. And your business will be no different. For example, if you're in the real estate business, you might want to search on home, residence, new house, or property. If you're in the insurance business, you might want to search on synonyms like coverage, risk, plans, or policies. All of these synonyms that prospects might be expected to use will appear when they post a need or a lead. But let's go back to the telemarketing example, because the last synonym we looked at, marketing, might give us pause. Why? Well, as you can imagine, searching on the word marketing might also hit on a lot of people who maybe don't want telemarketing, or at least they don't think so. But let's think about that for a minute. Maybe they have a need for marketing help, but they just haven't considered telemarketing as an option. Would someone like that be a good prospect? Here's where we get into the area of substitutes. If I was looking for potential prospects, I would certainly want to talk to anyone who needed marketing help, at least in the B2B space. Likewise, I would love to try to persuade someone who posted a need for advertising that they ought to consider professional B2B telemarketing as a more cost-effective option. These are all substitutes for telemarketing. Or, if I want to look at it from the prospect's perspective, I want them to think that B2B telemarketing is a good possible substitute for the marketing solution that they think they need. And in fact, if you look back at the example from before, notice that the prospect actually had posted a lead where he was looking for independent sales agents, which he actually described as, quote, a telemarketer who can sell phone and internet services to businesses, close quote. We can certainly do that. But more importantly, if you look at that in light of the need he posted for telemarketing, even he obviously thought they were interchangeable. It's not always going to be so clear-cut, but when you do your searches, don't only look for an exact match to what you sell. Along with the variants and synonyms we discussed, think also in terms of what a prospect might view as a substitute. You might even want to make up a list and save it as a saved search on the advanced search screen. If you're in real estate, you might want to look for people who posted needs or leads for substitutes like condos, condominiums, co-ops, apartments, or rentals, all of which are reasonable substitutes for what you sell. And you might not even have to swing the prospect very far to get them to consider one of your properties. Likewise, if you're in insurance, while there aren't a whole lot of generic substitutes for the word, you could certainly search on things like risk reduction or risk management. And depending on what type of insurance you sell, you could search for health plans, prepaid plans, medical plans, or benefits. All of these are substitute terms that, if someone was to post a need, you could certainly view as a potential opportunity. Finally, let's talk about complements. Complements are products and services that people need or buy that are either 1, good indicators that someone has a problem you could help with, or 2, something that's often bought or needed when someone also buys your product. Let me give you a couple of easy examples. If you go back to our real estate and insurance examples, it's pretty clear. And in fact, some of these are classic cases that are often part of the sales training in these industries. For example, if someone is in the market for a wedding venue, they often will soon be in the market for a place to live. Same if they're shopping for baby furniture or selling their home or have some other life-changing event. In insurance, someone who's looking for a lawyer to help them file for new business is likely also to need business insurance. And again, depending on the type of insurance you sell, someone who's looking for a new car might also need car insurance. Someone who's hiring a benefits manager might also need a new health plan, or someone who's looking for a new house might need a new homeowner's policy. The presence of a need or lead for these complementary products or services is often a great indicator that that person might also need your products or services. For our telemarketing business, the variety of complements is almost endless, since just about any company that's looking to grow is a good prospect. Thus, for example, I can search for people who have a need for new sales reps, companies that are looking for a direct mail campaign and might need someone to follow it up, or even companies that are looking for a new marketing executive. Another one is a company that is announcing a new product, as companies frequently want to get the word out quickly, but their regular salespeople are often tied up with old commitments. Someone who's doing that is a great prospect for me. But this gives you, I hope, the beginnings of a search strategy, searching on variants, synonyms for what you do, substitutes, and complements. By now, though, you should also see how the other dimension of this approach works, that is, looking at the other tables. For example, as you can imagine, if I'm looking for someone who recently announced the introduction of a new product, I probably should look on the PR board, or maybe in ads. If I'm looking for someone who needs an advertising campaign, I can certainly look in needs or leads. And if I'm looking for a company that wants to hire a new vice president of marketing, I can easily find that in needs or leads. Going beyond that, I can easily make an inference that someone might need our services based on what they sell, that is, based on what they've posted in their company description or in products and services. And in fact, searching this area is actually no different than using one of the traditional leads databases where the only thing they tell you is what business the suspect is in. What the lead generator does, of course, is give you a whole lot more information to draw on, but the same technique applies here. So as you become more comfortable with the system, be sure to look for opportunities in every area. Reach out to people. Get to understand what they do and what they're looking for. Make inferences about how you might be able to help, and make sure that all your company's data is in and up to date so other people will know you're open to the win-win, and so you can take advantage of the buy-side opportunities too. Because there is, if nothing else, a lot of opportunity on the lead generator. You just have to take the time to look.